Today I'm joined by Gerald Aalbers, Mayor of Lloydminster. Thank you so much for coming down to the station today.
My pleasure. It's always an enjoyable time to come down to see you rather than you coming to City Council.
And we'll just jump right into it. I wanted to talk about kind of the 2023 and in review. And a lot has happened in Lloydminster over the years. So kind of what are your thoughts on how Lloydminster has been over the past year?
Well, 2023, I think, was a new year from the perspective that a lot of people got back into a routine. We saw a lot of events happen. We saw a great turnout of events, summertime and different programs at Bud Miller, at the arenas, at the facilities throughout the city, as well as just the general mood in the community. We saw a lot of people traveling through this summer, had a lot of events going on. It was really great to see, and the city really came back to what I think people were used to after the last couple of years prior.
And then I also want to talk about your personal highlight of the year. There's a lot to choose from. A lot has happened, a lot of great events as well. So
Yep.
if you could narrow it down to a favorite.
Wow. I guess the biggest one personally was to see the completion of the wastewater treatment plant because that had such an implication on our city, but also on myself as mayor due to some of the federal regulations that had to be met, and the team was able to accomplish that. That was a project in the making over 6 years, 2 different councils. That, to me, that was huge. There were so many other great events, just seeing people gather this summer for the parade. That was an exciting time to be in the parade. I think the streets were lined. We had beautiful weather, from that perspective. The community as a whole is just, it's got some great vibes to it, and I think that's what makes 2023 a really memorable year for myself.
And a lot of change coming specifically in the council chamber with Aaron Buckingham getting the fire chief role. A lot of change coming soon to the council chamber. So on your side of things, how are you feeling about going into this new year with a lot of change?
Well, I think that, change is something that I talk about often, and sometimes we don't have change for 4 years in the form of council, but that's happened now in our 3rd year. Certainly want to thank Aaron Buckingham for his service as a councillor, great fit for the fire chief, and congratulate him on that new role that he's going into. It's going to open up a position, so there'll be someone new to council. So there's expectations that sharing information, and I know our legislative team will do that. It's an exciting time. We'll also have a municipal election, general municipal election in the fall of 2024. So there's a lot of things to be considered in the next 11 months. Someone's going to have to consider applying for a very short-term job, really less than 8 months, 7-8 months, and they're going to be back into another election. So lots of interesting discussion in the community. I know people are asking me, have you talked to anybody that's interested? Have they expressed interest? And there's certainly people have expressed interest. So yeah, it'll be an exciting next couple months at City Hall from that perspective, because there's the orientation, getting people up to speed, because there's a lot of information that we share, but there's even that much more information that a person that gets into the elected position needs to be aware of, and the requirements and things like that. So it's a very exciting time going forward because it'll prep us for the fall of 2024.
We've talked about it a lot at council, but I do want to talk about Lloyd on a budget side of things. Financially, how is the Lloyd standing in your opinion?
Well, it's been an interesting number of years, serving 7 years now as mayor. We often discuss this, what you inherit when you come into the role as an elected official, be it a councillor or the mayor, and where we stand. We've seen a lot of changes at City Hall and financial reporting and information that way, and how we're organized somewhat. It has always been an organization, but how do you organize that you feel that it's most effective? And the city manager has done a great job of doing that. I feel comfortable. I always would like to have more money in the bank because of issues that come up and timing. But at the same token, we have reserves. I wanted to share with people there's 2 sets of reserves. One's called the restricted reserves that come from off-site levies with development. New development brings off-site levy money to the city, but that also helps secure that money for those major projects like major trunk lines, water, sewer, extending those out. And paying for the long haul. Then there's unrestricted reserves that are there for projects like the Cenovus Energy Hub, different projects, be it the downtown and other projects where we just don't have the money sitting. That's that sort of that piggy bank that people have, and I don't want to call it a rainy day fund, it's truly a piggy bank. So I'm trying to manage that, putting some away, but also needing to be able to withdraw. And there's quite a discussion around council administration as to, what is that comfortable level, because government grants, we don't take for granted. We know they come every year, but if they don't come, or if we had a major issue at the water treatment plant, or other facilities, if we had I hope it never happens, we lose a building to a fire, a civic building to fire. Those are all challenges that all of a sudden pop up, because the expectation is you will have that building, whatever that service. And the city provides a lot of services to people in and around our community. Start with the library, the Vic Juba, the recreation facilities, from arenas to ball diamonds, to all those things, as well as everything we do each and every day, the water, sewer, roads, fire protection, and policing. So there's a lot to the city that I think that people don't always think about from that perspective. It's something that I don't lose sleep over it most nights, but I know council and I and work with administration to ensure that we're getting good value from the taxes, from the tax dollars paid, and what services are delivered, because very seldom do I hear from people that say, boy, I don't think we should have a library, or we shouldn't support the Vic Juba, or yeah, the arenas, there's too many arenas, we should close a couple arenas. Those are the conversations we don't usually hear. And at the end of the day, your tax dollars are put to use each and every day to do that. From that perspective, there's operational dollars and there's capital dollars. And the operational dollars, there's not a lot of change usually. What we've seen is an increase in costs on all fronts. Our fuel costs, labor, the supply of materials and goods, inflation has eaten away at us pretty challenging. On the other side, capital costs. We'll be talking about those on next Monday again, and ensuring that we're trying to keep a lid on things as best as we can, but a lot of things are outside our control. And the interest rate, that is a concern. It's something that we take very seriously at the City Council, because if we borrow money for a capital project, the lower we can get the interest rate, the less that has to be paid. It's that simple. It's no different than anybody's mortgage. If you're out shopping for a mortgage, I think you can relate to that totally and appreciate their concerns as a homeowner or a property owner if you've got a mortgage on your property. We have the same issue going on with capital investments at the city when we borrow money.
Lastly, I just want to touch on 2024 fast approaching. How is Lloyd poised to enter the new year and years following?
Well, 2024 is going to be an exciting year in our city from many perspectives. There's so many things that are coming to the city that have a positive. So first, Cenovus will be doing a major shutdown or turnaround at the upgrader. We're looking at, I understand, 45 days, about 3,000 people involved, which is significant for hotels, restaurants, just even suppliers of materials to the Cenovus Energy Company. From that perspective, the Cenovus Energy Hub is going to continue. You're going to see things start to rise up in 2024. You're going to see that structure happen. So that's there. We've got the summer games coming in 2024. We've got the CPCA finals, the Lloydminster Nissan CPCA finals. We've got just the oil show, the Lloydminster Heavy Oil Show in September. So there's a lot of things that are going to be happening in 2024, followed by a provincial election in Saskatchewan in October, followed by a municipal election in November for the entire city. So there's a lot of activities that are going to be planned in 2024. I just hope we get some snow in due time, and we get some rain and moisture to support our agricultural and ranchers from that perspective, because you can't grow crops and grow grass without moisture. And something I keep an eye on as well, because that has an effect on our community as well. So there's some great things, and I don't want to plant too much pessimism. We'll get there. The snow can come, but I'd sure appreciate it after the first when we start a new budget year, because we did beat up the snow budget pretty good this past 2023.
So thank you so much for coming down to the station to talk about this.
It's a real pleasure, and you know, I really wish people all the best in 2023 as we head into 2024, and very excited about where 2024 lies for the city on both sides, because you know, we have one city, but we have two provinces to deal with, the federal government, and we'll continue to navigate those channels as best as we can.
Thanks again.
Thank you.